David, which version of the Note 10 is your favorite, and why is it the small one?
Okay. Well, look, I like small phones, so I want to try it because I haven't gotten to really play with it.
Oh, that's right. Well, you didn't use it unpacked, did you?
No, and at my briefing in SF, they didn't even have the small one.
Oh, bummer.
So at Unpacked, I got to use it for like a couple minutes, but it was like on a display thing.
Oh, okay.
So, but like I feel like, I don't know, having that much screen and that compact of a size is pretty cool.
See, there you go. Isn't that the main, not the main story, but that's for the smaller Note 10, that is to me the main takeaway. And I'm really happy about that because they've managed to create a phone that has as much screen as possible while making it as accessible to as many users as possible. Because sometimes you want the Note experience, but you don't want like a super tall phone or a super big phone. You know, marrying the two is really interesting.
It's kind of a weird thing because it's like more accessible, but also it's still $950.
All right, so that is exactly what we're going to be talking about for the most part on this episode. So, general thoughts on the Galaxy Note 10, Note 10 Plus. I mean, we really don't have to structure the discussion. We could just think of like what is something that you really have in mind about these phones that you want to expound upon.
Let's see. I really want to use it more because there's a few people like I think a few of the Canadian YouTubers who are like they still have them right now.
I think UK also. I think UK tubers and creators they had the phone for at least a couple more days after Unpacked. They even went up in a helicopter. What is it with Samsung and helicopters?
Yeah.
They really
they took me in a helicopter too.
Oh,
for the
there
S10.
You go.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan so far.
Okay, tell me why.
Okay, because I have found myself using the headphone jack a lot in my S10. Like a lot, because these Sony headphones, these don't do multi-device, and so if I have it connected to my laptop wirelessly, then I could just plug in the cable and swap them really quickly. So there's that. There's the fact that I don't really like the boxiness. Like I didn't love the Note 10 or the Note 9 because of how boxy it was. It's very squared off, and these phones are even more squared off. So it's like. But the thing is, the smaller one, I might be more okay with because it's like actually you can hold it without, it's still got it's got 0.1 inches smaller display as the S10 Plus, but it's got even smaller bezels.
Yeah, 0.1 doesn't sound like a lot, but it's significant enough. And I feel like for a lot of people out there, just being able, like you could see it in my video that I had over at JV, just the fact that I could maneuver to the top and to the other side of the Note 10 already made me fall in love with that phone because it's been a long time since I've been able to do that with a Note.
Yeah. I just, personally for me, the S Pen feels really pointless. Like I don't know anyone that hasn't like gotten themselves to use it a couple times and then forgot about it. Like they've got a feature where it's like you can write something and then you can press a button to convert it to text, and it's like I'm pretty sure just typing is faster.
True. But I wonder because remember back when you were in college and you would write notes in class because you were not allowed to have laptops in the classroom? Maybe that was my era. Was that yours?
That was it might have just been your college. I don't know. Everyone used laptops in the classroom.
Well, okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right. College, that was mostly okay. But there are times when that is a thing that you can't have like devices out in the classroom. So you can.
Yeah, but if you got your phone out, they're going to tell you to take it away.
That's true.
To put it away. You're not supposed to have your phone out. You're not supposed to have your phone out.
That's true.
They cracked down harder on phones than anything else.
Well, so my connections are incorrect because what I was thinking was like you're able to write on the phone, but okay. The whole situation I was trying to bring up was that you're writing in a notebook, and then later when you go home, you end up typing it out anyway to make it easier for you to come back to those notes. But clearly, yeah, my memory is not serving me right.
I just think we've moved into an era in which it's the norm to type everything.
True.
And like, I don't see almost anyone that writes in notebooks. Like, there's definitely been, a lot of studies that say like writing makes it stick to your brain better than typing does. And that's why people journal, and that's why they have dream journals and like all this stuff. Or like journal, like you and I used a journal for a while. I don't know if you still do it, but we were trying to do like gratitude journals and stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And those are cool. And like, if you want to do that, hey, at least if your phone has a pen, that's cool. But for otherwise, it's like, I feel like most of the features that they've added for the S Pen are very much like, you didn't need this. Okay, sure, you have it, but it's not changing the way you use your phone. Like,
yeah, not necessarily on a fundamental level. But how about so since we're on the topic of the S Pen, we'll come back to the headphone jack in a little bit. I'm sure everyone's already typing in the comment section, like, there's no headphone jack, what the hell? But
is this live, by the way?
No, it's not.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, we don't do live episodes anymore. S Pen. It was already a bit of a surprise, especially with the Note 9, that basically this phone came with a Bluetooth remote shutter. And most people, they have to like buy a remote shutter if they are really inclined to do that kind of photography, selfies, like putting it on a table, walking over, OOTDs, social media stuff. I don't know, IG booty pics, that kind of thing. But
there's a lot of phones have like gesture shutter too.
True.
Like you use your hands.
But like going back to my just most recent, my last example, like you're going to wave at the phone and then turn around to get that bikini pic, at least in this case, you know that you're hitting a button and then it's going to take the shot. So I still think that that's one of my favorite features of all time on the S Pen. I do enjoy the off-screen memo and all that. Like, that's still nice. Every now and then when I need to write something down, that's cool. Maybe it will replace my little field notes notebook so I can do gratitude journals every morning easily.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I agree with that. But as far as the new features are concerned on this new S Pen, you now have control over the camera app. And... like, look at your face. This is so not like you're so over it.
Samsung solving problems that don't need solving. That's my issue with it. It's like, at this point, I feel like they are just reaching because they're like, no one needs this, but we're just going to make it better because it needs to be improved. Otherwise, no one's going to buy it. Yeah.
Well, this is why I think it's funny that we have you on, because you're more like, I don't know if you would really classify yourself too much as an influencer, at least in the case that like people like myself and other people do, where you put the phone up. You put the phone up, you take a picture of yourself that goes on IG, but then you swipe over, go to video, and then you hit record, and then you're doing your host segment, your A-roll for a video. Mm-hmm. That's like the reason why I have to say that out loud is because that's the only scenario that I can think of that I would use that consistently.
But how often do you shoot A-roll on your phone?
Well, for like,
and why not?
Well, I mean, maybe like IG stories. You know what I mean?
Why don't you just like press the button with your finger?
Because you have that 1.5 seconds at the beginning where you're walking back from the.
I feel like you're just playing devil's advocate.
Every influencer is talking about is okay. If any influencers are watching this episode right now, like you're all nodding your heads with me. Like that's a little. But this is the thing, though.
Okay. Maybe I'll just agree that I'll never understand.
Well, okay, but this is the thing, though. Caveat: it's the only scenario that I can truly see myself using the S Pen as that magic wand. Everything else doesn't really make sense to me. Like, if anything, there should have been controls for choosing what filter you want rather than choosing the mode. That would have made a little more sense for the IG crowd. But
like the stuff with like switching camera modes and like the zoom with this, it's like, what the? Why? Why? It doesn't make any sense. Like. The only like thing I was thinking of was like, oh, maybe if you put your phone on a tripod and it was like too high up and you needed to, but then you wouldn't be able to see what you were looking at. So like, if you can't see what you're looking at, what's the point in zooming or shuttering? Like,
I do agree with that. Yeah. There's one fundamental issue that I have with this entire conversation is that, yes, you can control the camera. You're in the front-facing camera. That's fine. But you're still using the front-facing camera. Like,
exactly.
The gang, what's the term? The game changer. I almost said the gangbuster. But the game-changing feature that I feel like a phone company should figure out, and then they'll become the toast of the town. Wow, I have really old idioms.
Those are a lot of idioms.
Is using the rear camera, but being able to see it, even if you're in front of it. It's the same thing as like my GH5 having a pop-out screen.
Well,
I don't know what that solution would even look like, though.
The Vivo Next Dual Display Edition does that.
Oh yeah, it has the little screen, right?
It only has one camera, and you can use it for either selfies or for the rear camera.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and then same thing. One of my favorite phones of the year, the Zenfone 6, like that one flips up, so you can do that. Yeah. But yeah, that's like even with all of these S Pen features and whatnot, this is still the one problem we have. Is like
my fundamental thing, honestly, is that like it almost feels like, to be able to use these features which make the phone more convenient, you have to inconvenience yourself to use features that are supposed to be more convenient. And that's my problem, is that like at the end of the day, it's harder to like do this, and it's also we were using pre-release phones obviously, but like I couldn't get it to do the zoom thing. Like I was trying to do it and it would like zoom it by one notch at a time, and I was just like, hold your phone.
I had the same thought the first time I tried it, but then I realized the reason why it does that is because it's registering one click of the button. So if you keep going like this while clicking the button, it'll quickly do.
You have to rapidly click it?
Not rapidly, but like just click it more and more, and it'll register that you're doing it more and more often. And then it'll like quickly zoom in. But you're right. There's no scenario whatsoever.
I'm hurt by this.
Yeah, there's literally no scenario whatsoever for the rear camera zoom that you would do that wand clockwise thing.
No, it literally feels like Samsung is not thinking about whether they should. They're just thinking about, can we?
Well, I mean, like, Samsung's known for this, right? Like they're the ones who start, like historically, like while we have leaks of the Pixel coming out, or even Google just putting out like material saying that they have the hand motion, the airwaves and whatever. The Galaxy S4 was the phone to try it, and we all gave them crap for it back then too.
Like this thing?
No, the scrolling one.
Oh,
yeah, because it had a small like, I want to say it was a sensor at the top that just registered that your hand went by it.
The thing about Soli though is like, I think Google is like dramatically underplaying the potential of Soli. Mm-hmm. Because like radar is like legit. Like you can put in their really early demos of Soli in 2014, they like put the little Soli chip next to a deck of cards, and instantly it was like, there are 37 cards in this deck.
Oh wow. Yeah.
It's like radar is stupidly precise. Mm-hmm. And the capabilities of something that precise are amazing. And they have demos of like, you do this. And so imagine like your phone is sitting on the table and you don't even have to pick it up. Like the Bluetooth is playing and your phone's like, also because it's radar, and it knows like how far you are away from it, it can like track your movements. So if your phone's in the center of the table and the Bluetooth's playing, you don't have to pick up your phone and hit the buttons to turn it up. You can just do this. Because it can do so precise movements that you're able to like do these gestures from relatively far away to like manipulate your phone. Okay. And I think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah. So that's something for a different phone that's coming up, but like the concept of just hand gestures in front of the phone, that's a Galaxy S4 thing. And now we're looking at another version of that, sort of like what I used to call the Galaxy syndrome, where we have so many different features on a phone that eventually you'll never use. And that's I think that's where you land on the S Pen currently.
I just like, it feels like Samsung either should have merged the lines and just like put an S Pen in the Galaxy S. Either got rid of both lines and just called it like Samsung Galaxy X, and everything was X from then on. And then it was like basically like an S design with a Note with a.
You really want them to go all in on the Apple stuff, huh? The Apple copying.
Well, I mean, it was 10, so like
That's
whatever.
true.
I don't know. X. Everyone likes to make X things.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah, I don't know. It just feels like, especially with the fact that like there's no 855 Plus in this phone. Like I honestly thought the Note was gonna have an 855 Plus because the S line always brings the new processor first, and the Note line is not really better in terms of specs. Like, you can get a Galaxy S10 that has 12 gigs of RAM. You can get a Galaxy S10 that has 512 gigs of storage and micro SD card expansion. The Galaxy S10 has a 4,100 milliamp hour battery. It has a headphone jack. It's like, I think that the Galaxy S10 Plus is better than the Galaxy Note. Note 10 Plus. And the only thing it has going for it is a bigger screen and the S Pen, but I think the S Pen is pointless enough that like 1% of people are going to use it. I agree. Okay, for digital artists, I think it's sick. Like, people that are used to like doing digital art on drawing tablets, if they can sketch things on their phone, like when they have an idea on the train, that's fucking awesome.
Don't worry about it.
Can I curse on this podcast? Okay.
Like,
that's
you get one.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And I don't think that the S Pen necessarily needs to be like taken away, but
they also need to make they also need to be very honest with themselves that it's not the end all be all tool.
It's just that they have nothing else to differentiate themselves between the Note and the S Pen besides the boxy frame, the bigger screen, and the S Pen. That's like the only thing, and so they kind of have to lean into it. And if they didn't make it better, everyone would be like, "Why would I buy this?"
Yeah.
So it's better, but uselessly better. You know,
it's gimmickly better. I don't know if that would really be a term.
Yeah.
But okay, so before we get into a quick mid break, just a couple more thoughts on the headphone jack, because I know that's one of the stories that both of the phones have. So we're talking about things that both phones exhibit. The S Pen obviously being the first thing, and now the headphone jack. The lack of a headphone jack for the first time in Samsung's history.
They had an ad for the S9 from last year that made fun of Apple for removing the headphone jack. And it was like, we still got it. And then they took it down from their YouTube channel. Just because, oh my God.
So do you think that, anyway. Okay, so I know that you personally are very into using the headphone jack more recently, especially since, we are definitely in a very specific demographic where we have multiple devices and multiple headphones. Like, so I think we're both on opposite sides of this. Not that I am happy they took away the headphone jack, but I also am trying to be realistic in the sense that I'm Mr. Truly Wireless Earphone. Like, that's, I'm all about it.
Like, yes, it's just like pairing wireless headphones to like multiple devices all the time is really annoying.
True.
And I would rather just like auxiliary and also like a lot of cars. Say you're driving with your friend and they're like, "Oh, you wanna DJ? Like, plug your phone in." If you plug it in, you can just start using it. But most cars don't allow you to pair Bluetooth devices while the car is moving.
Not easily. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
that's true.
That like at all. They don't let you like use the interface of pairing with Bluetooth. Like, and so that's like you could call that an edge case, but I found that happening to me all the time. Like every time when I'm in a car with a friend, I'm like, oh, I want to use my Spotify, but like I can't connect to it.
Yeah.
So
that's very true.
I don't know. It's just the small things, you know? It's the small things. Also, if they had added room for a headphone jack, there would also be a bigger battery. And I think the batteries are a little bit small for the screen sizes.
Okay. So let's pick up on that battery stuff after a quick break. Support for today's show comes from Oregon State University. Earn your Oregon State MBA 100% online from wherever you are. Each track is designed with feedback from industry partners as a direct response to market needs. Choose from specialized tracks in organizational leadership, business analytics, marketing, and supply chain and logistics management. You'll gain a competitive edge in the marketplace whether you're looking to move up or make a career change. Oregon State is a nationally ranked leader in online education, and its College of Business is AACA SB accredited. That's a distinction that only 5% of the world's business schools can claim. As an online student, you can earn the same accredited MBA as an on-campus student with the same curriculum taught by the same faculty. You'll learn alongside accomplished leaders from around the world, and your global network of peers, along with a robust alumni base and employer network, will be in your corner, committed to your success. Get where you're going faster with the Oregon State MBA. Learn more at mba.oregonstate.edu/pocketnow. All right, we're back. And before we get into the differences between the Note 10 Plus and the Note 10, which I think is going to be like the crux of people's buying decisions, because there are some very key differences between the phones, I do want to make sure we do one quick recurring segment. David, what is in your pocket now?
Oh, does it only have to be my phone?
No, it could be whatever you want.
Okay. Currently, what's in my bag / pocket is my passport. I am running a Galaxy S10 Plus. Speaking of headphone jacks, just because like right now, I feel like as an overall package, I think it's one of the best phones in 2019.
Agreed.
Yeah. You started using that this week, right? Yep. To kind of like compare it.
Which is funny because when I got home from New York, sitting on my porch was a D brand box with the grip case like this. Not sponsored, by the way. I'm just saying, like, D brand kind of has me on this mailing list where when a new phone comes out, they send some product. And this grip case is actually not too bad. I like it.
I heard the new one's pretty good.
Yeah. It's pretty nice. Anyway, go for it.
But yeah, when I go to these events, when I was in Taiwan, like for the Asus ROG Phone 2 or like at this event, a lot of people are rocking OnePlus 7 Pros, like most people are. And I love that phone. I love OnePlus hardware. And like before the S10 and before the 7 Pro, I was like all about the 6T. But I feel like as an overall package, because it has the headphone jack, because it has really good battery life, that's what kind of brought me back to it. I have a OnePlus 7 Pro with me, and I carry it around with me. It's in this bag.
But it's more unwieldy than the S10 Plus. That's my main takeaway.
Okay, my problems with it are that, it's really big. It's heavy. The curves on it are a little too aggressive, and because of that, they get a lot of glare. You get a ton of glare on the curves on this phone, which is like, a niche complaint, but it's there. Yeah. The battery life is not great when you have it on 90 hertz. And like that was a really annoying thing for me in my review was like the battery life was like worse than the 6T. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned that. I was like, the battery life is it's not terrible, but it's not amazing. And everyone's like, well, just run the phone at 60 hertz. And I was like, guys, the entire point of this phone is that it's a 90 hertz phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if you take that away, then you're taking away the entire marketing point of this phone. Anyway, as an overall package, I just say like the S10, like the camera is not amazing, and that was my biggest gripe with it. I love the versatility, don't get me wrong, and it's got one of the widest cameras there is. If you have your finger here while you're taking a photo, your finger will be in the shot.
Yeah, I know that.
It's ridiculous.
I tried to get a sample of I think it was the Manhattan Bridge, and it was a video, and I was just showing how you can go through the different zoom levels, and then when I went to wide, like half the frame was covered.
Yeah. It's funny. It's like 180 degrees. I just feel like as an overall package, it's really good.
It's really up there.
Yeah. It is, and I really like Samsung's like Infinity displays. Like I really like the Infinity O or whatever they call this.
Yeah, with the dual, which is not a thing on the Note.
Which is like whatever. Yeah, it's not.
All right.
I don't really take selfies.
So before we get back to the Note 10 talk, I do want to talk about what is in my pocket now. It's not really a pocket thing, but you know that I was super excited about this. It's not even like a smartphone per se product, but the new.
Oh, you got it! Yeah, you got it.
The 8-bit do SN30 Pro Plus. Now the reason why the SN30 Pro is just this. It's just the retro SNES controller. Adding this made it Pro Plus. Now, I already love it. I started playing Fire Emblem last night on the Switch on my TV with this. First time playing it on TV, by the way, because I bought that right before I left for India.
Isn't it a magical feeling though when you use your Switch on a TV? Yeah. You're like, this is the best console ever. I can just this is the whole point.
Like things just became better, like, you know, because it runs well in handheld mode, and then all of a sudden on a TV, you're like, yay!
Switch Lite is a bad deal.
We'll get to that one day soon. But this is honestly like this might be the best third-party controller I've ever used, and it's compatible with iOS, Android, Switch, and PC. Yeah.
8BitDo is a really cool company. They had a booth at Computex, and I stopped by and talked to them for a little bit. I have their there's a Bluetooth dongle attachment for Switch, which allows you to use GameCube controllers wirelessly with the Switch.
That's cool.
And I have that for Smash.
It's not a complaint. It's just something I'm getting used to. It's wide. It's a very wide controller. So I actually feel myself reaching for the control sticks, but that's fine. Like it's just I get that that's how. This actually feels a little bit like a GameCube controller in the sense that you're kind of reaching a little bit.
Compared to like the Switch clamp thing, which is like really narrow, I feel like that would be better.
Exactly, and it's comfortable. It's an adjustment. Right now I'm in the adjustment period. So a review of this will be over on my channel at some point. But anyway, by the way, to anybody
we also got to talk about how you just hit 100K.
Oh well. I'm not trying to make it all about me, but anybody out there who did...
Josh just hit 100K.
Any of you out there who might be following me on my channel at youtube.com/Joshua Vergara, I did hit 100K subscribers. Most of that is due to the fact that I'm part of such a great community, and the fact that I'm here on Pocketnow is part of that. So if any of you out there did subscribe to that, thank you for that. Even if you haven't, thank you so much for still being here while I host the podcast. I'm just really grateful to everyone that, you're sticking around. So, real quick, before we get back to the Note 10 talk, just one quick thing. Housekeeping. If you're wondering where that section is, where we respond to comments from the last episode, that will come back next week. It's just that we were traveling and we didn't really have a chance to like go through the comments and whatnot. So rest assured that the comments on this episode, we will try to respond to some of them next week. So wait until the end of the episode so that you can hear what our question of this episode is, so you can answer it in the comment sections down below. All right. Who came up with it? Who came up with the idea that the Galaxy Note 10 and the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, now clearly there are size differences, but I'm trying to remember who said this, but they gave credit to Google for making it so that, talk about the Pixel all you want. One cool thing is that one of the only key differences between the Pixel and the Pixel XL models is the battery size. But everything else is the same. Everything else is the same feature set. How do you feel about that in the lens of the Galaxy Note 10?
I'm triggered.
Was it you that told me that, or I'm trying to remember who was talking?
I might have told you that it annoyed me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I did bring that up.
Okay, it might have been you. Yeah, we were hanging out with so many people this past week.
I think like you shouldn't get an inferior experience just because you like smaller phones.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Also because 6.8 inches is freaking huge, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it has the same like footprint as the Note 9, which is pretty cool. But like, if you can get something that has the same footprint as like an S9 or an S8, and you get all that screen, that's amazing. Like, I didn't even, like we said earlier, I didn't really get a lot of time to play with the regular sized one. But I prefer smaller phones. The reason I have like the S10 Plus and blah, blah, blah is because whenever we do reviews, you kind of prioritize the bigger ones because those are the more popular ones.
Which is funny because Jaime, if you're watching right now, I just confirm or deny, but I think I heard Jaime say he's going to press Samsung to give them the smaller one. Because I think it's
I think a comparison on like day-to-day performance and like that stuff would be really apt and good because the battery's pretty dang small in the smaller one, but they also made it 1080p, and that will help battery life. There you go.
Right? Two of the biggest complaints with this phone right now is smaller battery, to which I say 3,500 milliamp hours is not a tiny number.
I know. I think we tend to, like, the norm has changed, right? Like 4,000 for a big phone is kind of becoming more of the average. And then when Asus 3 weeks ago drops a phone with a 6,000 milliamp hour battery, everyone kind of expects more. Yeah.
The bar has been like the line in the sand has been being moved a lot. It keeps moving. And that's the same thing with the Snapdragon 855 Plus. Like, since you brought up the ROG phone too.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Like, I get why the 855 Plus could have been or should have been the new hotness when it comes to the Note 10, but it's also an offshoot of the latest processor. So in my eyes, I view the 855 and the 855 Plus as the same thing. So if you get the 855, it's not that big a deal that you missed out on the Plus. Now, granted, if it was an 865 that was out, yes, I would be mad that they didn't do it. But
okay, but here's the thing for me though, is that like I said earlier, I never really saw a lot of viable reasons to buy the Note except for the screen size and the S Pen. And to me, the S Pen's freaking pointless. So it's really just the screen size. And then now for me, I want smaller phones. So like, all in all, why would I buy a Note? So Qualcomm officially making a SKU that has a higher clock and a 15% faster GPU would be a reason. It makes sense, right? Because for a lot of people, it's like, why would you buy a phone with an 855 when the new one's going to be announced in December and we're already like in August, right? It's a little bit weird. Like you're still buying the latest processor, but it's now 6 months old.
So do you think that do you think that the Galaxy has shifted? So the S line will have the latest and greatest while the Note continues the party?
I mean, that's kind of how it's been.
But wasn't the Note the Note was technically more advanced than the S though, since it was later in the year. But maybe that tide is shifting.
The ways in that it was more advanced are like kind of diminishing, I guess.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't even remember like in what ways they used to be more advanced, except for the fact that their screens were so freaking big. Like the original Galaxy Note compared to like the Galaxy S2 or whatever,
huge difference
at the time was huge. Like it was like product A, product B. You couldn't even really compare them. But now like the fact that they're so similar, they're ridiculously similar, and you're actually getting more features with the S because I just. Going back to the like, am I bummed that they stunted the growth? They stunted the small one. Extremely bummed because like no micro SD card expansion and only a 256 gig model, no headphone jack, 1080p display, smaller battery. Like, why? Just make it the same specs. Like, come on, guys. Even like it seems like it's almost BM. That they took out the micro SD card expansion because that's like it's a niche thing that like not a lot of people use, but it's like why? Yeah. It's built into the SIM card tray. Like what the heck? It's just another reason that they're trying to get people to buy the bigger one. So why even make a small one if you're going to make it so much worse and only charge $150 less?
Yeah, I do think that the Note 10, so what's funny is that in this whole conversation, there are so many reasons why the smaller Note 10 is a bummer, but I still want it. That's so weird. And I
think we're just getting used to wanting smaller phones. Like the small Pixel 3 is like the best like the battery life is complete garbage. And it lags, and the RAM sucks, but like the feel in the hand.
See, I don't even really like using the Pixel 3 as an example. I would actually use Pixel 3a and 3a XL because the Pixel 3a it actually fixes, even though it has a lower spec sheet, it still fixes a few of the fundamental problems of the original Pixel 3, including battery life. I actually have really good battery life on the 3a. But anyway, I agree with you that like both phones should have been about the same. The reason why I'm a little bit more bummed out about the way this is turning out is because it's one thing to have a phone that has more features and is bigger, so bigger screen, bigger battery. I'll put out their vapor cooling chamber. That's obviously a plus model thing. That's fine. I get that those things make more sense in the bigger phone, just like they did with the S10 and the S10 Plus. But then they're literally taking away features that have always been a part of the Note line for years. Like you said, micro SD card slot, headphone jack, large battery. So
1440p display.
That's true. So
Galaxy S4 had a 1440p display.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. And I find that particular feature or lack thereof is the hardest thing to I'm not trying to justify the Note
defend.
10. Like I truly believe that I am an enthusiast enough to the point where I would actually get this phone, just like I would get, like we were saying earlier, the Switch Lite. I'm actually going to buy the Switch Lite because I hate myself. Like because I actually want it. I actually as much as I know all of the pitfalls with it, I still want it, and that's how I feel about the Note 10. The screen resolution is hard for me to justify to people right now, and I personally don't care, because I know that my Galaxy phones have always defaulted to FHD plus, and most people out there who have S10s or Note 9s,
they default and they don't know.
They don't realize it. So the same people who are complaining probably have never gone into the display settings and changed it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then that is extremely true. And I have, since the first OnePlus phone I reviewed, which I think was the OnePlus 5, you and me co-reviewed that phone.
Mm-hmm.
I have said OnePlus makes really great 1080, or they source really great 1080p displays, and because of that, I don't care, right? And I've said that through the OnePlus 6T, and so it's almost a little bit hypocritical, but the biggest thing is that you can't offer one thing for a long time and then go back. It's like how when app developers offer a free service for like 3 years and then switch to a subscription model, you can't do that. You can start with a subscription model, but if you suddenly go back, like Push Bullet, for example, there's this app I used to use all the time. It would push notifications from your, which is now I guess a Galaxy S10 or Note 10 feature, ironically, push notifications from your phone to your computer. You could answer text messages through it. You could like look at notifications through it. It was a free service, and I used it for like a couple years, and then suddenly they switched to a subscription. They have a free model, but the free model is awful. It's like 50 messages pushed a month. Otherwise, you have to pay like $40 a year or something.
Oh, wow.
And then their entire community just abandoned them because like you can't do that. And that's what it feels like with the Note 10. It's like you can't just offer everything for like the last 5 years and then just be like, and still charge $950 for it.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so price is still really high. I think that's where we're going to be like ending this last few minutes. $949 for the Note 10, which when you compare it to the price that the Note 9 was at start, base model, there are
it's $50 cheaper.
It's $50 cheaper, but are there $50 worth of features that are missing?
No.
See, there you go.
I mean, there's a lot more.
Yeah, exactly. Screen, the battery, the headphone jack, and whatnot. Meanwhile, the Note 10 Plus is up there. So much higher, $150. Still missing a couple of things. Mainly the headphone jack. But do you have any? That would be my question to all of the viewers and the listeners is how do you not only is the question how do you feel about the Galaxy Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus, but which one would you buy if at all? And I guess my question to you, David, right now would be if you are not the kind of person that would get the Note 10 or the Note 10 Plus, are there viable alternatives to these phones right now? And I feel like there are plenty.
Viable alternatives.
I mean, we're holding one right now, right? Like this is,
but yeah, exactly. This phone's like $500 on sale right now, and it's twice as good too. Yeah. So it's half the price and it's twice as good. And just get an S10, please. They're really good.
Especially if you don't use the S Pen. I think that's my number one question to everybody is, do you even use the S Pen?
Like everyone's going to be like, yeah, I'll totally use it, but they won't. They'll use it for like the first week and then they'll forget about it. Yeah. Like almost guaranteed.
They'll cut out like Pinterest stuff and that's it.
Yeah. Oh, I do have to say when I was reviewing the Note 9, one feature I did like about the S Pen was that on a web page, you could take out the pen and you could doodle like arrows around things and then like cut out in a certain shape and then send that as an image to someone, which I liked for like Facebook Messenger. Technically, you could still do that with your finger. It's just more precise. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
It's about precision at this point because like they added that feature that's like AR doodle, and they use the feature to like doodle on your friends and like that's the name of this
episode.
Right? Doodle on your friends. It's gimmicky, but you know what's actually kind of cool is I saw this really cool implementation of AR Core a while ago. It's an app, and this is actually, I was on All About Android when it was someone's weekly pick. It was an AR Core app where you could, in real time with your camera, draw on things in real space, and it would basically just like leave it there. So if you needed to show your mom how to set up her router, you know, you go over to your router and you like draw, and you can send her a video of like, press this button, and there's like an arrow that in real space wraps around the router and shows the button. It's cool. Like, I think it's useful. And that's what I would use AR Doodle for. Now, you could technically still do it with like this app that uses AR Core, but it's just more precise with the S Pen. Like, that's the benefit. For me, it's about the precision. It's not about like the drawing or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm not a good artist, so I wouldn't be able to use that S Pen very effectively anyway.
If you're like a digital artist, these are dank, dude.
Yeah.
Like, these are sick. It's just kind of an edge case. And like everyone that's listening to this podcast, like there might be some artists, but I think most of them are just nerds like us. The other phone, OnePlus 7. Okay, I saw something really apt on Twitter, I think yesterday. I don't remember who said it, but they were like, for the features that they offer, the S10 and the OnePlus 7 Pro's prices should be flipped. Because the OnePlus 7 Pro has a 90 hertz display, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. The cameras are getting better and better. 1440p display. It's got a bigger screen. It doesn't have micro SD card expansion, so I guess there's that. And it doesn't have a headphone jack. But like the OnePlus 7 Pro as an overall package is way better than the Note 10 Plus. Like, it's pretty much impossible to deny that. Or than the Note 10, not Note 10 Plus. And $950 versus $670.
That's true.
So,
I want to hear what everyone has to say about that hot take right there.
Also, software on OnePlus is way better.
It is a more, I want to use the word fulfilling. It's just a smoother, more pleasing experience as Oxygen OS.
And they've also been updating their camera app like nonstop.
And I'm going to revisit that. A couple of people have been wondering why I still haven't put out the final review of the OnePlus 7 Pro. It's because I want to see all those updates come out. Because honestly, I was so disappointed with the camera when that first came out that I wanted to give it a chance. I wanted to let it like...
Especially like the wide camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know that's how much... You know I love me wide cameras. But yeah, so there are a lot of viable alternatives right now, and I think that's one of the main takeaways about the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus is that whereas it used to stand alone every year as kind of like the upper beacon of what a smartphone experience can be, right now it feels like Samsung sort of missed the mark. And especially for a 10th anniversary device, it almost feels like they missed the mark in terms of that. Like, this should have been a celebratory note, you know?
Yeah, I think that the S10 series, I literally called my review almost Apex because it's just, in every way it is good, except the cameras aren't amazing. But they are versatile, and there's that. Yeah. And I love that. But then this one, like my review of the Note 9 last year was called In Praise of Incrementalism, which is to say this phone is the ultimate. You can have a terabyte of storage on it. You can have up to 12 gigs of RAM. I don't know if last year they had 12 or if it was just 8.
I don't think it was 12.
You could have a lot. You could have a ton of RAM. It had the 4,000 milliamp hour battery, which was like a big deal for them considering the Note 7 was exploding. Just all this stuff, right? It was just like, and it has the pen. So like, it had every feature that a phone could have pretty much. Yeah. And then this one is like 10. It should be celebratory 10th version. And technically it is the 10th version because the Note Edge existed. So even though that wasn't a numbered phone, it is the 10th Note.
We don't talk about the Note Edge. There is one thing that we have not touched upon, and we're not going to right now because, you know, there's a lot to talk about with these phones. There's not enough time, but we're going to find another way to do so, especially when we get our review units. I feel like the wild card with the Note 10 and the Note 10 Plus is honestly DeX. And again, it's an edge case. It's only for people who would actually seek out that kind of functionality. And the reason why we're not harping more about DeX is because most of you out there probably wouldn't use it either, just like the S Pen.
Well, you know what someone said to me? I actually think it was Ebert who said this to me when I was telling him about decks and stuff, is that now you can connect your phone to any laptop and use decks, which is, from a broad perspective, great, because who just has a monitor not connected to anything sitting around?
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest problems with decks, is like, what, are you going to carry your monitor to Starbucks and then plug in your phone and keyboard? Like,
again, literally the one
useful?
scenario I could think of, just like with the S Pen now, the one scenario I remember I thought of with decks back then was if you're in the library. And like you go to a library at your college and you plug it into the monitor because you unplug it from that stupid like cheap Dell that it's been set up with.
I guess, again, extreme edge case.
Exactly.
And then what Ebert, I think the whole thing with decks connecting to, and I'll try to make this quick because I don't really want to take this too long.
No worries.
Plugging it in via USB-A cable to any laptop is way better. I agree. It's like, cool. You don't have to have a monitor that's not connected to anything sitting around. And Ebert was like, okay, but if you plug it into your laptop, why don't you just use your laptop? And I was like, shit.
I would say easy.
The only thing
I would say ease of use.
Easy access to file management.
Yes.
Is the only thing. And that was that, and then the fact that you can use the apps on your phone on your laptop.
Yeah.
Because then, like, if you want to upload to Instagram, I mean, there's a hack that you can use Google Chrome web dev settings that I use to upload to Instagram on desktop.
But that's even more of a, like, you're a super nerd when you find that out.
Yeah. It's in the developer console. But anyway, like, with this, yes, like, you could run, there's a lot of apps that, like, you can't run on your Windows PC, right? So, like, or Mac. So, like, it's useful to be able to, like, run those apps on your phone in a separate window.
Yeah.
But again, it's kind of an edge case because, like, now that wireless is so, like, streaming things or like whatever is so prevalent, it's very, very rare that you're going to have to plug in your phone and then move stuff on and off of your phone onto your desktop, because, like, upload to Google Drive from your phone, download from Google Drive on your laptop. That's what most people do. Sure, it takes longer, but most people do it because Android file management, when you plug your phone into your laptop, is like, what are all these root folders? Like, regular people don't understand how to navigate a file structure from Android because it's really bad.
Yeah.
Like, there should be an interface. That's basically what it is. It's an interface in between your phone and your laptop that makes it easier to move files. And I agree that that's nice.
Yes. Think of your Instagram posts and your, think of like IG stories and even Snapchat. I think some people could probably find a way to put some cool content on Snapchat using the like ease of use of getting a file or a video that you recorded somewhere else onto the phone and then put it into the Snapchat app via the virtualization. So it's like, okay, that's cool. Again, very specific cases.
Right. I think that anyone that's going that hardcore with their Snapchat is like an extreme edge case, because like the whole
IG stories
is
probably the much more practical example.
Yeah, but like the whole point of like all these story apps, at least for average consumers, is that they're really quick and simple and stupidly easy.
Yeah. True.
All
right. Anyway, well, we'll see. Whatever. We'll see what that all looks like. And again, Dex is something that we won't really talk about too much until we actually use it. And I'm excited to do so because I feel like if I can find more use case scenarios, I think that's the point of solving problems that don't quite exist yet. Is because we're still looking for the problem while we're using the solution. So that's probably the best way to put it. In any case, David, thank you so much for being up right now. Or it's a little bit early.
It's 3 hours later here.
Yeah, for you. Now that we're all back in our respective places. But in any case, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where to find you?
Sure. Find me on Twitter. If you would give me a follow, I'd appreciate it because I'm on #road to 5K, which is not exactly, amicable, but for year over year, it's pretty good. I'm at David Imel, DURVIDIMEL. On Instagram, I am David Imel, just my name. I use Instagram for stories, but the last time I uploaded a photo was like January. And then you can also find me on AndroidAuthority.com. That's where I post my content, and on DavidImel.com if you want to go to my personal website. Or you can go to yikertown.co.uk, which will also forward to my website.
Click that in the card above or in the description down below.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Anyway,
well, you know
your
me.
turn.
I'm Joshua Vergara, your host of the Pocketnow podcast. You know me. I'm JV. I love tech and I love to drink me some tea. You can also follow Pocketnow at Pocketnow on all major platforms. And thank you so much for joining us either on the listening side, where you're on your favorite podcasting app, or on the YouTube side, where you are able to answer the questions about the Galaxy Note 10. Let us know what you feel about these devices, which one you would buy, if at all. And also, I mean, honestly, do you ever use an S Pen? Let us know in the comments down below. But from there, we're going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for listening or watching on the YouTube side, and we will see you in our next episode.